everybody, this is the Wikstrand 2015 saw the release of Daddy's Home. I saw this movie with some expectations, you know, just a few years before Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell made a fantastic movie, The Other Guys, and I hoped that we were going to get something similar, or at least, you know, something that was good. I ended up really hating Daddy's Home. I hated the characters, I hated the story, and it made me frustrated, and I absolutely hated Rusty. I almost hated Dave as much as I hated Rusty, but I just hated Rusty a little bit more because I thought you were supposed to really sympathize with this absolute douchebag, but that is a story for another time. I will do a review of Daddy's Home at one point, but today we're going to talk about a sequel to this movie, because this movie sure as hell fucking needed a sequel. And when I heard that not only was it going to be a sequel, it was also going to be a Christmas movie, I was just disheartened by the whole thing and thought, man, this is going to be absolutely horrible. This movie ended up not being horrible. It is still an asininely awful movie, but it is still a better movie than the first one. But that was not a very high bar to, you know, climb over. You can basically fall over that bar. Because one thing was introduced in this movie, which I thought at the time when it was, you know, announced was a good idea. We're going to have dads for the dads. We were going to have Mel Gibson and John Lithgow, and I thought, man, maybe they can pull something out of this one. But then I saw the trailer and I thought, oh no, they missed such a golden opportunity with that casting. I'm going to explain why, but first we're going to have to review this movie. This is Daddy's Home 2. Brad and Rusty, aka Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, I wouldn't call them good friends, but they're, you know, helping each other to make, you know, the family work together, and, you know, they love their kids and stuff like that. And Christmas is coming, and all of a sudden their dads are coming because they're going to celebrate together as one big family in a gigantic lodge somewhere in a winter wonderland and stuff like that. And their dads are of course played by John Lithgow and Mel Gibson. Now here is the golden opportunity they missed, because if they would have switched places, if John Lithgow, you know, who is the father of Brad, who is, you know, about as threatening as a Care Bear, and, you know, I've seen plush toys being more aggressive than he is. What if he was the dad of Rusty, and, you know, Rusty was thinking, I'm going to, you know, break out of this soft guy's you know, routine and, you know, become an alpha male and, you know, become a badass, and that would have worked. It would also have worked if Mel Gibson, who is this super duper uber alpha male, if he would have been, you know, the father of Brad, aka Will Ferrell, and his stern, competitive nature would have driven this man to snap, to be the soft whipping boy in a grown man's body. That would have created some fantastic family dynamics, because, you know, one father would have preferred the other son, and, you know, the sons would have had, you know, work to get the affections of their dads back and stuff like that. That could have been great. That could have been an awesome series of small little sketches that could have worked. But now they went with soft, hard, and that is very boring. Now they travel to this fantastic cottage, and hopefully this will be a conflict-free Christmas, you know, where everybody gets along. I don't think so. So the rest of the movie is basically a bunch of not very fun sketches and situations where I hate most of the characters in it and just hope that this movie is over with. The only character that I thought was kind of fun and kind of saved this movie a little bit was actually Mel Gibson, because he was just, you know, meant to be this absolute mental case that you were thinking, what kind of a stupid thing is he going to do next? And then he'd do something incredibly awesome and stupid at the same time. And he actually had some pretty good comedic timing. Now, considering who is in this movie, you would have thought that they, you know, automatically at least would have been a little funny. But they aren't, and all these situations just gives me Christmas anxiety and made me wish that this movie was over. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I want to see that Liam Neeson movie that they were watching in the cinema towards the end of the movie. That movie seemed to be a lot more entertaining and have a much better plot and much cohesive storytelling than this one, because there isn't really a story here. It's just a bunch of situations around Christmas with a very vague thread of, you know, family is important and we have to, you know, come together for the holidays and stuff like that. They shoehorned John Cena in towards the end. He doesn't really make much of an impact, considering he doesn't have that much material to work with and he's only in it for a few minutes and then he just pisses off. The thing is that Daddy's Home is still a slightly bit better movie than its predecessor, mainly because of the introductions of Mel Gibson and John Lithgow. They at least breathed some new life into this one, because if this would have been the same thing all over again, I probably would have vomited by watching this movie. Now it is just this sugar-coated nonsense thing that is, you know, shoehorned into this movie. It doesn't take any risks whatsoever. It doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. It's very predictable and you get actively bored with it. Now, to be fair to this movie, at least it isn't as frustrating to see as its predecessor, and the pace was pretty decent, and every once in a while they get a joke that almost sort of lands, and you know, there are small moments in this movie where the comedy shines through, trying to break through, but it is just, you know, marinated in this massive mediocrity that this movie is just wrapped up in. And if you really like the first one, this will probably float your boat too. And if you like Christmas movies, this will also probably work for you. But to me, it did not improve my Christmas spirit whatsoever. It just emphasized on what I had been thinking the last few years, that Will Ferrell wasn't funny anymore, and all the characters he played was just so over-exaggerated, and I couldn't take him seriously. And I just didn't care what was going to happen to anybody in this movie, and nobody has, you know, any character arcs or anything like that. It's just a movie that happens until it doesn't happen anymore. It was bad, but it was not as bad as the first one. Good chemistry with our main lead, and there were a couple of interesting and fun side characters. I give Daddy's Home to 25 points. Is it too generous? I don't know, but at least it is better than the first movie. So I'll see you next time for so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.